Welcome to the Black in Motion podcast, powered by Rise Free Media, with your host, Braxton Simpson. What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Black in Motion podcast. This is day one, and I'm so excited. I'm your host, Braxton Simpson. I'm an entrepreneur, an organizer, a communicator, a community curator, and I'm just so excited to have you all. If you're new here, and you probably are because it is day one, welcome to the space where culture, community, and purpose collide. This podcast is going to be all about keeping it real, staying in motion, and highlighting the voices, the stories, and power moves of people who are making an impact in our community, especially across Black communities, HBCUs, D9, and beyond. I created Black in Motion because I've seen what it looks like when we as a people lead, and when we build, and when we move, and I'm just excited for us to do that with intention, to highlight the hustle, the culture, the grind, from policy and politics to passion and purpose. This is where we break things down and then we build each other back up. And so, as an entrepreneur, an HBCU grad, shout out to Tennessee State University and North Carolina Central, advocate and someone deeply committed to the work of uplifting our communities, I know firsthand how important it is to stay in motion. And so, I'm excited, and I know that you do too, and that's why you're here. So, without further ado, let's get started with Season 1, Episode 1 of the Black in Motion podcast. And today I have with me Jessica Laure'l. Give it up for my girl. Yeah. So Jess is a mother. She is a content creator. She's an entrepreneur. She has a background in counseling. And I'm just going to allow her to share a little bit more about herself before we get into today's conversation.
Hi, I am Jessica Laure'l. That's my first and middle name together. It's my little alter ego.
There we go.
I am a lifestyle influencer, mental health advocate, a mom, just trying to navigate life. I have been through a lot of life experiences, and so I thought that it was very important for me to be able to have a platform that just showcases, different things that I'm able to do, how I can help other people, and bring people joy.
Yes, and y'all, she's been this way since I met her. So I met Jess, about maybe 4 years ago now. It's been a while when I first moved to the Raleigh-Durham area, and the same person she is today is the same person she was then. And I just remember you pouring into me and my aspirations around creating content and being able to share a message. And it's been great to see how you've grown. And so I'm excited to talk about that and get into some of that today.
Yes, for sure. Definitely. When I met you, it was amazing. You're just so full of joy, so bright, just so many ideas. So I'm excited to actually be a part of your journey.
Yes, thank you so much. So let's get into it. So we're going to start with rebuilding and thriving post-2024 election and the pandemic. So we know so much has happened over the last few months, and everything that's shifted politically and socially over the last few years, honestly. How do you think Black creators, especially women, are shaping conversations around resilience and community building?
I think one of the biggest things as it relates to Black women, just kind of sharing their life experiences, right? So we saw what happened with the election and how it's continuously affecting everyone, right? But then I love how a lot of Black women have taken the stand. It's like, you know what? I'm tired.
I need some rest.
I need some rest. I'm not going to keep working so hard, doing everything for everybody, and people are, quite frankly, not there for me. Why am I putting all this work and doing all of this stuff and nobody's there to support me?
Yes, and it feels like we're pouring, and you can't pour from an empty cup. And a lot of times it does feel like we carry this country on our backs. And so I think, I was glad to see a lot of people taking the stance of rest and being intentional with their rest. And I personally, being someone who was on the ground during the election, organizing, community building, I needed to take some time. I had to take some time because your girl was worn out.
I can only imagine. It was just so much going on, and unfortunately the results did not go in our favor, but we still have to keep running our own race. I think if anything, it allowed us to say you know what, we need to focus on us. I'm gonna get this rest, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna do what I need to do.
Yes, so with your background in mental health and just kind of focusing on self-care, what advice or kind of what conversations were you having amongst your friends and family members around just maintaining some sense of normalcy, but also peace during that time?
During that time, for me, it was like turn off the internet, get off your phone. You just need to have a reset because because I feel like we were always like, oh my gosh, did you see what happened next? Did you see what happened next? And it could be so overwhelming, especially if you deal with like anxiety or depression. It just put a lot of people in a very bad mental state. I had a lot of my previous clients reach out to me. I'm not in the therapy space anymore, but it was still being able to just talk to them and encourage them, like, hey, just shut it off. Like, it's okay to take a couple of days, rest, do all the things that you need to do, because at the end of the day, if you aren't able to function, it's not going to be worth it. You can't worry about what's going on in the world 24/7.
Right, and it is tough. It's a tough thing to try to do. I know I don't really take a break probably until like February. So I took some time, yes. And I think because I've been somebody who has focused so much on like building communities and organizing, getting people to the polls, I felt almost obligated to be hyper informed.
Okay.
Because I know that people also come to me for advice and clarity on some of the things that are going on. But I had to take the time to be like, okay, like I can't be everything for everybody, and I'm gonna have to take a break myself if I want to like actually see things change and be able to be a part of the change. But right now I can't do it because I'm just actively overstimulated.
Yeah.
So that was tough. But kind of piggybacking off of that, how important is just the messaging around that to you, especially as a mom as well?
I think it's very important. It's so crazy because I'm a mental health therapist by nature. It's like I'm always pouring into my daughter, like making sure like she's emotionally well, like doing different things, having affirmations, like making her feel okay to kind of express her feelings. Because I feel a lot of times growing up, we were not really, at least for me, I didn't grow up in a space where I could question my mother or express my emotions on how I really feel. And so it's important to kind of create that like healthy environment in my relationship with my daughter, my friends, just like being able to hear you out. Like, okay, so tell me, like, how are you today? Yeah, what's going on? Okay, and what upsets you? Okay, you're upset, but why? Okay, but really break down, especially like after the election, it was kind of like, okay, this is who our president is. Why are you upset? How can you overcome this? What's within your control? Because I think a lot of times it brought up just all these feelings of like, oh my gosh, you have to do all this stuff, but what can you really control?
Right. And focus on the things that you can control. And I think that's a great point you brought up, and I'm glad you're being able to instill that in your daughter at such a young age, because I think a lot of us didn't grow up with those tools. So we didn't have the toolbox to kind of think through emotions. So you might say you're mad, but like, why are you mad? Or like, are you actually mad, or are you sad? Or like, what's the actual emotion?
Yeah. No, for sure. I think a lot of it is really realizing that it's more than just happy, mad, or sad, right? It's like now she's at the point where she just like, she's able to say like, mommy, I'm frustrated. So normally I feel like growing up we would consider that mad instead of like, okay, you're frustrated. Okay, what is frustrating you? So I think it's just like as we get older and more knowledgeable, being able to kind of express ourselves, we're learning how to really have these conversations with other people,
Right, definitely. No, that's good. So I kind of want to transition into adulting.
Okay.
Yeah, and adulting, it gets crazy out here. So adulting while Black, kind of navigating career, finances, and mental health. So you transitioned from being a mental health professional to a full-time content creator. So can you talk to us first about that transition, and then also what challenges you face while balancing motherhood as well?
Yeah, so I was a mental health therapist for about 10 years. And in the process of me being a mental health therapist, I went through a divorce. And so my divorce got really, really tricky. And it is very hard to pour into other people when you're struggling. And when I was going through my divorce, I was really struggling. And I'm like, as much as I love therapy, at this season of my life, I can't do it. Like it's not fair to my clients. And so
it's someone else, and I need some pouring into myself.
Absolutely. So I got to like this crossroad where I was like, something else has to give. And I was already doing content, but I was doing it on a lower scale. I wasn't really going full throttle. Because sometimes when you do content, it can feel cringy, it can feel weird. Like people gonna like this, like
this,
people talking about me. But then I got to the point of just like, I was praying, I was asking God, I'm like, listen, you put this desire in my heart, and I just feel like this is something that I can really do. So in the process of me like trying to like lower my caseload with my clients, I'm like, I'm just gonna go full throttle. And over the last year and a half, almost 2 years, I was able to kind of go full time, and I can't look back now. It's been amazing.
Yes, and it has been absolutely amazing to watch too. Watching you grow as a creator, because I started watching some of your fashion hauls, and those were just blowing up, and I was like, look at Jessica growing, like this is amazing to see you be everywhere, doing all the things, and most importantly, it looks and feels like you're walking in your purpose too, and what you're supposed to be doing. So do you feel like your background, kind of serving people in like mental health, do you think that helps inform like some of your content?
Yes, because I think a lot of it is about having confidence, right? Because there's so many people that want to be content creators or want to get into the content space, but we're so in our head, right? Like we feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, or this isn't great. And I want to be an example. God's always put it on my heart to show people like, you can literally do anything. You have an opportunity to transform your life at any stage.
Yes.
Each and every time. You can wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? I'm starting over. I realized that nobody was coming to save me, right? After I got over the idea and grieved the life that I thought I was going to have, then I was able to finally step and walk into purpose. And I'm still not all the way there yet. It's just like, this is this certain stage of where I'm at now.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think reinventing yourself, I think a lot of us just young people struggle with the idea of like reinventing yourself and the fact that you can't always start over. So can you maybe talk about maybe some experiences you've had with that?
Yes, I feel like the biggest thing is we all have imposter syndrome, right? Where we don't feel like we're good enough, we don't believe we can do this. But then when you really like think back and look over your life and look at everything you've accomplished, and you're like, oh my gosh,
I'm that girl.
Hello? Like the 5-year-old me is looking at my life like, I can't believe this is happening.
Couldn't even thought this up.
Exactly. I could not dream. A year ago, you couldn't tell me this is what my life was going to be. And so with me being able to kind of like write out those goals and be able to say like, you know what? No one's coming to save me. And if I want this, I'm going to have to work hard. And that's a lot of it. It's like working hard, doing the work. Because a lot of us have all these ideas. We're so successful. We're so smart. But we're also lazy. We also like decide that, like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or oh, it'll be there. And before you know it, a year has passed and you haven't done anything that you said that you wanted to do.
And that's a year that could have changed your life.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love that. So do you have any like practical steps or like advice for people that are kind of looking to take that next step, whether it's becoming a content creator or an entrepreneur, just kind of taking autonomy over whatever that next phase of is in their life, that they can take to just get started?
I know a big thing for me and a big thing that I helped with my clients as a therapist is I'm like, okay, write out some things that you want to accomplish within the next month. Start small, because I think it's so easy for us to think about the long-term goal. It's like, okay, wait.
It's too big.
Right. So start off small. Like, okay, what can I do within the next month that's going to help me work towards my goals of what I'm trying to accomplish, whether it's be an entrepreneur or get that promotion or become a content creator. Okay, just starting there, and then just start. That's the hardest part, is just starting and realizing it does not matter what anyone thinks. It does not matter what your friends, what your family thinks, because they're all going to think your ideas are crazy, or they're not going to always be as supportive as you thought they were. But then once you finally start getting that momentum and you believe in yourself,
they're going to believe in you.
Exactly.
I love it. And I think one thing we have to remember is our vision was given to us. God gave us our vision, right? So that vision wasn't necessarily given to everybody else. And I think having some understanding about that as well. Because I think that's something I struggle with, especially kind of earlier on in my entrepreneurship journey, was, okay, this is something that I want to do, but I don't know if my parents completely understand it. I don't know if my friends completely understand it. And now I'm second guessing, do I understand it? But yeah. I think
one, like you said, just getting started. People always wonder, how do I start a business? Sometimes you just gotta start. You gotta start, you gotta put yourself out there. But then also realizing that your dream and your vision and your purpose is your own, just like everybody else has their own too.
Yeah.
And you just gotta walk in it, put in the work, and people will come along.
No, absolutely.
And the right people will come along.
That part.
And speaking of that, building community. Because you've built a massive online community. How has that been?
It has been really good. You know, a lot of people want the like the fashion stuff, but then also it's like, okay, I have to get into the habit of like retelling my story, because at first it's very easy to think that, oh, well, I've already said it before, everyone already knows. But no, that's what helps build your community, is constantly telling your story over and over and over again. Because a lot of times people are very superficial, right? So they will look at you, Braxton, and just feel like, oh my gosh, Braxton didn't have it easy. Like, she's always had it easy her entire life. Like, she didn't have to do anything. She just always this pretty girl, and just everything just fell in her lap. That's how people think. But not realizing, like, no, like, there was blood, sweat, and tears. Hello, the nights I cried.
That's a story.
Hello. And so, but we have to get familiar with telling our story, because a lot of times we don't share it. We just like, oh, well, this happened, I overcame it, and we always want to just express the good side. Right. But people really need to see the bad side. What did you go through? Those hard nights, those late nights that you were up crying all the time. Like, that's what people need to see. That's what helps them see, like, the authentic you. Right. Which makes them believe in you and really want to be a part of your community.
And also want to support you, you know, when they know what you've been through and they can relate to that. And it's like, oh, I can see myself doing the same thing. I can see myself getting there too. And also it's like, if Jess did it, through everything that she went through, I can do it too, you know? So I think that is also important. And I think especially as Black women, we have to share our stories amongst each other too.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm seeing that in so many different ways. And this is like a slight tangent, but I think we have to share not only just resources, but then I think also like just community sharing, capacity building. Like, I feel like we need to do more of that. Even when it comes to like health, I've noticed, and just talking with some of my friends, like, there's women health issues that I've dealt with that I shared and then didn't realize I had other friends that were also dealing with it. And when I think about the fact that I'm 26, all of my friends, most of them are between like 25 and 30. They're all like, a lot of them have had women's health issues or are currently experiencing them. And it just makes me think about the importance of us sharing those stories. We have to share.
No, for sure. I think, you say you're 26, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be 36.
Really?
Okay, I'll be 36 this month. And so it's like realizing like, oh my gosh, like, you have so much life, you know, in front of you, and being able to build this community at this age. I feel like if I knew what I knew now 10 years ago, just how further I would be. But then that also comes with just like the experience and having somebody that's willing to share their story with me. I didn't have that. Like, what you have right now, I did not.
And you're giving that to me.
Hello. And so then that's is how we continue to like bring, especially Black women, like carrying the torch. Like, here you go. Like, okay, this is what I went through, and I don't want you to have to do this. So I'm telling you, this is what you need to do. Here you go.
I love that. And also just kind of making sure that we don't possess any crabs in a bucket mentality. I think that's really important too. And what I mean by that is like, you know, getting to a place and then it's like, okay, well, now that I'm here, I don't necessarily need to help the next person, or I can only be the only person here. But I think that just an understanding that we operate as a community, especially as Black people, more specifically as Black women, we have to work together. Like, there's nothing that we can accomplish without each other. And so really just like being willing to like share those resources to pour into each other, to put each other on, to speak our names in rooms that we wouldn't otherwise have been in, I think is key. That's how we win.
No, absolutely. I feel like it's funny that you said that. Like, some of my biggest brand deals were from other Black women speaking my name in rooms that I had no idea. Like, every single time. And it's like, oh my gosh, you thought of me. Like, that just shows like not everybody has that crab in a barrel mentality. But I feel like our life has kind of taught us like that's how we have to be. Like, we have to be the token. Like, it can only be one token. When it's like, life does not have to be like that. Just imagine how much further a lot of people would go if they just shared the resources and talk to other people like, oh my gosh, yes, like you should do this, or I have a friend that works here, let me put you on there. It's all about, I mean, other cultures do it all the time.
Yes, and I was gonna say, it's one of those things where it's kind of like a picket fence within our race that we're having to tear down, constantly tear down. And it's not our fault that it was put up, but it is going to be up to us to bring it down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be up to us. So kind of getting back into community and culture and preserving and evolving Black identity, how do you think the digital world plays a role in preserving and evolving Black culture, and what's your approach to uplifting that identity in your content?
I think the biggest thing is like the internet, the digital space is not going anywhere. Like what we're learning as it comes to AI and all these different things, like it's only going to get bigger and bigger. Like I love giving the example when people ask like, what do you mean you do content full time? Well, I want you to think of the example of how often do you watch real-time TV now?
Right.
Like hardly ever. It's always like, you know.
I'm on TikTok.
Okay, right. I'm on TikTok or Instagram, or you're going to your apps and watching your shows when you have time to, right? And so when it comes to advertising products and things like that, people aren't watching commercials anymore.
No, so pay the influencers.
Exactly, hello, because that's who you see on your timeline all the time, and that's what we're able to do. And so a lot of it is like learning, okay, if you've been like I'm not getting on Instagram, or I'm not getting on Facebook, or I'm not doing that, you are missing out on a massive wave and opportunity. Like the influencer space is like, I think the last time it was evaluated, it was like almost like a $5 billion industry, and it's only supposed to triple over the next 5 years. So it's like, okay, what are you waiting on? Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah, no, for sure. And how has that been as far as kind of with an industry change, right? Like you going from being a mental health professional to getting into content creation and now becoming an influencer. How has it been learning kind of that space, and then also connecting with other influencers that are doing similar things as you to kind of learn and share resources?
I think that is like really important in terms of like not being afraid to ask questions and finding like your tribe, right? And that's within any space, whether you're in the influencer space or in the corporate space, you find whether it's mentors or other people that are in the same position as you, that you know they're gonna be open and honest with you. Like I can have an honest conversation with you. I'm like, oh, I see you worked with this brand, blah, blah, blah. They just reached out to me. Like, what were they like working with? Like, okay, what can I expect? Like, and okay, how much are they paying?
Right, because are they shorting me, or like, you know, are they doing right? I need to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that is really important. And also not having that crab in a barrel mentality, because right?
I'm gonna tell my sis.
Exactly. I'm gonna put you on like, okay. So that brand, okay, they be funny. They be funny acting. They not trying to spend no money, but they'll send you free products. So if you're okay with free product, then
that might be good for you. If not, maybe not.
Exactly. And I think also having a good team behind you. So I recently, over the last year, I signed with an agency just to kind of help negotiate some of my contracts. Right. And then also I feel like sometimes being signed can also help you just in other spaces. And so you can figure out what works for you. But over the last couple months, I've been also pondering about working with a PR agency too, just to get my name out there, because I never just want to be in just a space of just influence, but also like, okay, I have this mental health background. How can I also kind of incorporate both of those together?
Book me to speak, book me to do all the things. I'm here, I can give my expertise and also use my degree too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. That's awesome. So what do you think is the importance of storytelling, especially from Black moms and women content creators, in preserving our community's collective voice and experiences? I know you love your daughter. Love her down.
I love her down, and I think storytelling is the best thing you can do, especially when in terms of like building your community, because then they feel like, oh my gosh, I can touch you. Mm-hmm. You know, like, oh, she's within reach. She's not so far away. Like, oh my gosh, like her daughter struggles with, you know, her hair too. Like, there is so many things that make a person, because sometimes people can feel like influencers are like celebrities and that they can't be touched. But it's like, no, being able to tell that story and showing people the behind the scenes, they're like, oh.
These are people who turn the camera on, right?
Exactly. I do the same thing you do. I wrap my hair up every night, okay? My daughter sometimes irks my nerves too, okay? She don't always want to eat her vegetables. Okay, like it is normal. All of the things. So it's definitely, I think storytelling just helps make the person that seems untouchable real. Like, oh, this is a real person. This is not a facade. Like, we have the same struggle. So there's actually nothing different between me and her. Is that she chose to just turn on the camera to show the world what her life is like.
Right. And how has that been? Like, as you know, grown as a creator, and you kind of been out in so many different places now, in different spaces, meeting people that have resonated with your content.
I think it's always pretty cool. Like, if I meet somebody randomly, let's say I'm out of town somewhere, somebody's like, I think I know you. Is your name Jessica? And I'm like, oh yeah, hey family, how you doing? What's your name? Making sure that I'm also catering to them. Like, okay, hey, what's your name? Thank you so much for following me. Is there anything I can help you with? Like, anything. Like, I want to be the resource. Like, I want to let you know, like, yeah, I am your homegirl. I am really your family. Like, I am either your big sister or your little sister. Like, I'm here for you.
Right. I love that.
I think the biggest thing for me when challenging these different narratives is also like showing people like, hey, this is the real me. Like, so many times when people hear some of my stories that I share, they're like, oh, I had no idea you went through that. Like, I went through a lot of childhood trauma. And so, like, being able to say, like, hey, I'm a child sexual abuse survivor. Like, I've been through this. Like, I struggle with mommy issues. Like, with my own mom, I don't have a great relationship. So it's like being able to say, like, hey, I'm a real person. These are real people, and we go through real things. But it's up to us to choose to get the healing that we need, to decide to do the work, because it's a lot of work to overcome some of our biggest obstacles, especially as it relates to trauma, and not pour that on to our child, to our offspring, and also teaching them, like, okay, this is the right way that we should go. Like, let me help you. Like, let me pour into you. Constantly, what we've been talking about throughout this whole show is like pouring into other people. I feel like that's the biggest thing to kind of get rid of some of those misconceptions. Like, yes, I may be pretty, I may like trying on clothes, but then there's a lot of work that I have to do. It's a lot of discipline. Being an entrepreneur, being a content creator, like, yes, I work my own schedule, but it's like I still have to choose to get up. Like, there's no 9 to 5 clock I'm pushing, but it's like I'm constantly working.
Do it.
Exactly. Every day.
So, entrepreneurship. How do you dabble in entrepreneurship before this experience?
Yes, like little things here and there. So before I went full-time content creating, like right before the pandemic, I used to cook all the time.
I remember, I got one of them plates.
You got one of those plates? Okay, yes. So like literally when in the process of me going through my divorce, I didn't have a job. And so I was like, but I also know that I needed my daughter to like go to daycare, and so I could have time to find a job and do all these other things. So I used to cook all the time. I used to sell plates. I used to cook on live a lot. And then after all of our recipes, I ended up making a cookbook. And so then I sold the cookbook, and it was like constantly finding ways of like, one, building a community, building an online community, but then also a local community, because people knew like, oh yeah, Jessica, yes. And that's why I always be like, okay, after you buy your plate, post it, because then people are like, oh my gosh, make the plate. Exactly.
This plate. This hefty plate.
Exactly. And so that's when I was like, yeah, this is the space that I'm in. You know, you do what you need to do. You know, like I was selling, nobody knew I was selling plates to pay my daughter's tuition, but it was like, all right, that's one step closer into where I want to be.
Right, and this is what I want for her, so I gotta do what I have to do. And you monetize your gifts.
Exactly.
And that's something you're still doing.
Exactly.
Yes, I love that. So what's been your experience navigating the online space as a Black woman? And how do you create safe, empowering spaces for others through your work?
I think a lot of it is like, outside of sharing my experience, like having real conversations with people, right? So in my DMs, there are so many women that reach out to me every time I share that, you know, I've been through a divorce, or that I've had mommy issues, or that, you know, I had to start my life over, or reinventing who I am, constantly giving them advice, talking to them, and showing like, yes, you can do this. Like, as a Black woman, I know that we face so many obstacles, right? There are so many things thrown on our face. We have like the media, or how they're portraying what Black women should look like, or what Black women should be doing. And it's like, you can debunk all of those narratives. Like,
I think yourself.
Hello? Like, that's all you need to do, and just show up and be like, no, I'm not that. Like, I get that's what you think I am, but let me show you who I really am, you know?
I love that. So, kind of taking a shift to the future of Black political and social influence. As somebody who wears many hats, what legacy do you hope to leave for your child and for the Black community as a whole?
I think the biggest thing that I want to leave is like like I really made change in this world, right? And so as I'm working with kind of shifting my focus from just fashion, but also pouring into other people, I think the biggest thing is I want to be able to kind of have a book and kind of share. I think that's the biggest thing. Share, 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 share. Sharing my story, because sometimes people, when I fully tell my story, people don't believe it. They're like, what?
Because I think a lot of times people will see the glory and not know the story, right? And so, it's easy to click onto your page and see, oh, like she's making all this content or she's here and there. They don't know everything that you've been through to get there. And how what you've been through kind of informed your hustle too.
Yeah, for sure. I think being able to kind of like really share and just express like, hey, like I've been through some really hard things. And I know you may be going through some hard things, but we can make it to the other side. Like I am a walking, breathing testimony that if I can survive it, you can.
Yes, I love that. And I think also one thing that I think is really cool is that your daughter will be able to see you doing an untraditional career, right? Because I think people always say you have to do this, you might have to do that, and this is kind of like the particular route you got to go. But I love that you're being able to show her something different. Because like a couple years ago, people were saying, you can't be a content creator, like not full time. Like you can go play around with that, and so it's like, no, this is literally a career choice, And so I think that's really cool that she's being able to see you grind for that, work hard for that, and show her something different.
Yeah, for sure. It's so interesting because like they have, well, you don't have any kids, but like at school she's in second grade and they're always talking about what their parents do. And so one time she was like, well, my mom is a therapist, but she's also an influencer. I don't know, my mom do a lot of stuff. And so it's also,
I don't know what to say, but
she do a lot. Like she sometimes has to talk to clients, but she also like goes into the store. We got a shop, so
we gotta make videos.
We gotta make videos. Like I don't know, and she pays me because I pay her too. Like
right.
to participate. Exactly.
So, how do you envision your platform continuing to amplify Black voices and promote advocacy for important issues affecting Black families and communities?
I think expressing and talking about them. Right? A lot of times with influencing too, it's easy to kind of be like, okay, well, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to deal with that. I'm not going to be a part of that because of being afraid of, oh, this brand may not like it, this brand may not like it, or this, that, and the third. But I think it's important to be like, no, what type of change do I want to see? And I know that I have a following of people that follow me, they believe in me, and I think it's important for me to share what's really going on and the type of change that I want to see.
Yeah, and if it doesn't align with someone else, then it's okay. It's okay to say no.
Exactly, and I think it's also great for people to see how authentic you are and like, okay, this person has the same shared interest as me, and I'm gonna stand behind her and back her up because I know she's not with the play. Like she's for real.
Right. I love that. So this is our last question of today's podcast, and I'm so excited. This is like our signature question. So Black Emotion is all about staying in motion and making power moves for the culture. So what's one way that you keep it pushing and stay in motion, whether in your hustle, your community, or your everyday life?
I never forget who I'm doing it for, right? So we're supposed to be leaving things for our children's children. And so I want my great-great-grandchildren to have this legacy and to believe like, oh, my great-great-grandmother, she did not play. Like she started a business from the ground up. She did all of this stuff and she left all these resources for me, for our family to flourish and have a legacy name. That's what I do it for.
I love that. And you're just building upon a legacy that your daughter will be able to kind of walk into and her kid and her kid's kid. So I love that. Legacy is everything. Legacy is everything. Well, thank you so much, Jess, for being here with us today. Can you tell people where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Jessica Laure'l. That is Jessica Laure_L. I would love to meet you and have you join the family.
Yes, but thank you so much for being here. This was absolutely amazing, and we kicked off the Black Emotion podcast. Thank you to all of you for being here for season 1, episode 1 of Black Emotion. Stay tuned for episode 2.
See ya.